All right, so sometimes I talk to people and it comes up that I'm an army brat, and the question that comes up most often is, "What's my favorite place to live?" Or what was my favorite place that I lived growing up? And it's always Germany, for a lot of reasons. Uh, it was, I believe it was 86 to 89. So it was a lot of amazing shit that went down between 86 to 89. Uh, I was 9, 10, and 11 in Germany. So that was like my Goonie years. You know, basically, you popping out of elementary, and then you're just getting your feet into junior high. So uh, those are great years, man. Great years for some people. It was good for me. But it was Germany, man. You know, and I was an army brat, so by this point, I had already been in a city till I was 6. Then I went to the country from New York City to North Carolina for 2 years, I believe. And then I went back to the city again for a year. And then from there to Germany. So I had a good grip on what America was about, you know. A lot of stuff went down. We had a lot of things like, do you remember Hands Across America? Remember that? That was huge. I rarely ever hear that come up in a documentary. But that was a big deal. But it was that time. Uh, everything was big about AIDS and crack. Crack was all over. I actually saw crack vials, all that stuff in the puddles in the streets, everywhere, everywhere. It was that time. Garbage Pail Kids were the shit. Uh, yeah, man. It was that time. The Mets won the World Series. Come on. Uh, so then from there, I go straight to Germany. And yeah, you knew you were in another world right off the bat. First of all, the flight. Never experiencing anything like that growing up. A 9-hour flight over the ocean, B? Come on. We did it in a C-130 one time, man. You don't know what a C-130 is, you need to look that up. We did it in a C-130. I think they called it a Mac flight. We were facing shit on pallets. we had earplugs. Oh man, I remember I had a Walkman, and I bought LL Cool J's radio, the cassette, his first album. I had it on cassette, and I remember I bought it, and I just listened to it over and over, and then my battery started to die, and the song started to get slower. And I was just like, no, how long are we going to be on this fucking plane? It was brutal. Flipping through the same magazine over and over and over. Man, I wouldn't want to do that now, and I was a kid. Shit. uh, but that's an experience. You go through something just getting there. And then when you get there, it's just like, whew. When I got there, I felt like when Rocky got to Russia in Rocky 4. Remember that? When he gets off the plane and he's like, what? And all you see is snow. Yeah, man. It was awesome. But it was interesting. It's like you knew you were in another place, like legit another place. And then you meet other army brats, and we're all assholes at that age. We're all little assholes at that age. But it was great, man. You get your friends. You start finding with small groups, you form friends quick. and you form bonds quick, and it's just fun, you know. Everything's about basketball on the court. Who could jump up the highest? One kid could touch the rim. You know, he had freakish ups for fifth grade. It's good times, man. Hip hop was coming out with just amazing songs, one after the next. Every few years, we had the first year I got there, we had Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. He's the DJ, I'm the rapper was out. I remember that was the big thing we were listening to. And then it wasn't long before Two Live Crew came out. It wasn't long before we heard our first Two Live Crew song, and then that changed the whole game. But it was a great time. Movies, come on, movies were killing it. Those late 80s sci-fi movies, adventure movies. Man, it was all about the movies because we didn't have television. We had one channel, so everything was about the movies. We would borrow movies from people who had like four movies on one VHS cassette, recorded on the shittiest possible quality. But you got all the Rocky movies on one VHS cassette. You couldn't fuck with that, man. And everybody had a library. Everybody had a chinero with all the VHS cassettes in alphabetical order or by genre. People had books, and the VHS cassettes were just numbered, and they would give you one of those catalog books that somebody took from the orderly room, you know. You know what I'm talking about if you was in the Army. And it was written in that black ink with that U.S. Army Skillcraft standard pen. You know about that too. But it was numbered. Boom. VHS cassette number 72. What's that got? It's got Ghoulies. It's got Critters. It's got some movie called Silver Bullet. And you got that one, and it was just hit after hit after hit. And you didn't even know it. Those are great movies to this day. But when you were a kid, these movies went straight to VHS. And it was just some cat burning them, putting them all on some other guy's blank, probably selling them. That's how it was, man. It's all about the movies. And then you go to the movie and it was $2, man. You ride your skateboard over to the post. Movies like RoboCop. Come on. Predator. Movies like that were coming out at that time. Twins. Coming to America. Come on, man. You know, you can name more. You can name a bunch of them, man. Howard the Duck. Some good times, man. Good movies. Girls were all about Dirty Dancing. Remember that? Spanish girls were all about that lambada. Hated that shit. But all that was stuff that popped off during that time, man. And that's just what made Germany great to experience. I could still experience American culture in another land, you know. And every now and then we'd go out and get a taste of that land. We'd go to a castle. We'd go on a field trip to a castle, bro. The shit you looking at right now, Game of Thrones, we would go there. Like straight up. Drive up a road, come around, see a mountain, and there's a castle. Like, you'd walk across what was the moat, man. Like, this is real shit back in the day. Just amazing. The things you could see as a young kid in Germany. Your whole world is blown away. The first time we went to it was like a festival, an outdoor festival for Christmas. But in Germany, Christmas is a whole nother thing, man. You know, in America, Christmas is Santa Claus and shit like that. But in Germany, you believe Santa Claus is from Germany because they just do him up right, and he looks amazing, and it's not even really Santa Claus. It's Kris Kringle or some shit. But yeah, it's an amazing time. I remember my mom gave me her camera with the film, and it had like 24 exposures. And we went to this Kris Kringle festival or something. It was around Christmas, and there was like Christmas lights, and the weather it wasn't too cold, but it was like snow flurries like the whole day. I shit you not, it was magical. And you could walk around, and the kids basically they let us just roam, man. We were fourth graders, but we were there with teachers and some parents and shit. But I don't remember being escorted by anybody. I remember we just roamed that shit, and we rode carousels and ate caramel popcorn and watched people blow glass art. You know, I remember we took a group photo, and everybody posed like we were rappers and shit, you know, with our arms crossed. We were fourth graders, man. We were these little 10-year-old assholes, man. American kids. You know, fucking with each other, really. That's all we did was just tease each other, throw shit at each other. Oh, man. That was a really good time. Those are the experiences you have when you're in Germany at that age and that time. And then you get a little bit older and you start getting into stuff. You start getting into sports. You start getting into. I got into skateboarding. Yeah, man. I got taller. I started getting slimmer. I was husky, and I stretched out a little bit. And then you discover girls, not completely, but you just know that. You know that they're going to pretty much take up the majority of your imagination for like the next 10 years. Or fuck it, the rest of your life, really. It's a good time, man. Teen Wolf, remember that? Ah, shit. Teen Wolf. When Teen Wolf came out, I connected with that one, man. I was a hairy kid. So when someone called me Teen Wolf, I was like, that's right. I'm going to be good at something one day. I don't know what it is, but if being hairy can make that Michael J. Fox character the baddest man on the court in his high school, shit, I hope being hairy can make me pretty awesome. That's how I looked at it. And then you know what was interesting about Germany? You at that time, I went through my first real exchange of goodbyes with people. You know, because the longer you stay, you know, a lot of the people that were there when you got there, it's their time to go, and their parents have to go to some other base and stuff. So you have to deal with goodbyes. You deal with new people coming in all the time, and you deal with friends who are your friends one day, and sometimes they're your best friends, and then some new kid comes in, and then they become their best friend, and then you know it's such a crazy carousel of kids, you know. Not too often, but it happens, you know, with the best friends thing. But the cool part is that, you know, it's like a new show every school year, new characters. Some characters get written off. Some characters come in and add a whole new element to the feeling of the school year, you know. Like nothing is better than when a real pretty girl comes into school, and it's like that boring ass time of the year, man, where You know, it's Christmas break is still far. You're about a month and a half in, and it's just boring, man. You know, you've already kind of worn through the high of the summer. Now you're just going through the motions, and then some new kid comes in, and changes the game. Some new kid comes in, and I remember when this new kid came, he could rap. He didn't rap. He was reciting the lyrics he'd heard, but it was dope. I'm not gonna lie, man. It was dope. People started learning how to beatbox. We started doing this off to the side. Instead of playing basketball, we were doing little rap corners and stuff. And sometimes we start snapping on each other. Your mama this, your mama that. Who got next? No, I had next, man. Come on, I had next. Ah. Fine, I'll stay here and tell mama jokes. Man. That was Germany. All those things, that was Germany for me. Great scary movies came out too, man. I remember one time, it was Halloween, and it was my first Halloween there. And I had this friend. It was like a little girlfriend. Like, when you have a little girlfriend, but you're not really, you don't know what you're doing. I think other people probably called us girlfriend or boyfriend, which is probably what made it happen. But she was my little friend. We were like 9, and we were 10 or something like that. And she came over for Halloween, her and little brother, whatever. She stayed for the movie, and then after it was over, I was gonna walk her to her building, which was across. It was. I was on the 12th floor of my building. I had to walk through an alley, which was basically like townhomes. It wasn't scary. It was just townhomes. And then across the street, and then maybe like, just half a block to her building. And it was nighttime, and it was Halloween, bro. And I remember we walked down that alley. It was dark. It was quiet. We were scared. We held hands. No shit. We held hands. We held nervous hands. It wasn't even about boyfriend, girlfriend. That shit was like, I got you. Okay, cool. Let's go. Ready? And we walked fast. And I walked into her building. She went in the thing. Went to the elevator. And then I was by myself. And I ran. I was running, man. I ran that whole way back. And that alley, oh my God. I remember when I turned the corner to go back to my building, it gets darker towards my building. And I'm running towards the darkness. But I'm just like, nothing's catching me, man. Nothing's catching me. And now my heart is hyperventilating. My adrenaline, my imagination is fucking running because I'm still suffering from American Werewolf Syndrome from the first horror movie that I saw when I was 4. So here I am 10, man. And I'm just thinking that thing is out there. It was in London, right? I'm in Germany. That's not that far. That was my logic when I was a kid. And I booked it the whole way. And I get to the door and I hit the fucking button. And I got to wait for somebody to buzz the goddamn door so I can get in this building. And my heart is racing. Who is it? It's me. Who is it? Open the fucking door. What do you mean, who is it? Click that door open. Get in the elevator. Every horror movie I could think of was on my tail. Once I was in the building, I was immediately thinking of Michael Myers. Oh my God. That's a true story right there. Germany, man. Great stories like that happened in Germany. My brother and I could talk about this all day. all day. The time we rode our bikes so far that we forgot, we didn't realize how far we really got. Uh, and it became like a concern. As if we were gonna, how long it was gonna take to get back. We rode our bikes up the river. We lived really close to a river, and it wasn't uncommon for us to ride our bikes down the sidewalk along the tracks. And then there was just this nice sidewalk that walked the river, and the river actually went all the way to the main town, and there was a castle in that town. And by car, I took maybe 20 minutes or whatever, but that's in a car. But with bikes, we're just a bunch of kids just kicking it around on BMX bikes, you know, on a summer weekend. And in Germany, the shit about Germany is that the sun is up for a long time. Like the sun will set at like 10, so you could be out for a long time. If your curfew is 8, you come home and the sun is still out for another 2.5 hours. And all your friends are still outside. So you could be, summertime is a trip in Germany. But we rode our bikes up that path, man. And we were bullshitting, cutting it up, completely oblivious to time. And then somebody shouts out, it's like 5 or 6 o'clock. And we had been out there all day, man, like probably since like 11. So we had been out all day just pedaling. And then we turned the corner around this tree, this wooded area, and we see the castle. And we were like, holy shit, we're by the castle? Like, we had no clue we were going to get that far. And then we realized, man, we've been pedaling all day in one direction. And we're about 2 hours from our curfews, which was like 8. And it was a nervous ride all the way back home, man. It was nervous, real nervous. And then I remember when we finally made it to the tracks, and we turned from under the tunnel, and you could see the building. My balcony was the 10th floor, and I could see my mom on the balcony, and I was like, fuck. Cooked, done. But we had the best time. No shit. We had the best time. We just cut it up. Talking shit. We were sweating. It was hot. It was summertime. We had German money, so we could get whatever we needed from the little store. We bought, Capri Suns, little Kinder Eggs, candy and shit, a bratwurst or whatever with a Fanta. Man, good times, man. I'm telling you, worth all the grief that I caused my mom. Oh man. And then Nintendo came out, man. And forget it. Nintendo came out that last year that I was in Germany. And it was a game changer. Now we were all just coming together in each other's homes. And there was always one kid that had a shit ton of games. And when you finally got your Nintendo, now you wanted people to come play at your house and stuff. So it was pretty cool. It was a new thing. But I remember how different it was because I wanted to go outside still. I wanted to ride my bike. I wanted to go play basketball. And I do remember that was the first time I remember going outside and being the only kid at the basketball court sometimes. It got quiet. I remember it got real quiet, during a certain time of the day when the younger kids were no longer outside. But it was a game changer, man. But then all you saw around was like the teenagers. You saw older kids around. So I do remember that was when I started hanging out with older kids, because then they came out to the court, and they were the ones teaching us about hip hop and what to wear and what was cool and what was going on in high school and shit like that. I'm 11 years old, but You know, I didn't quite catch the bug. I never caught the bug of high school. Or, I mean, of high school. What the hell am I talking about? I never caught the bug of video games. You know, I enjoyed them, but I always knew that it was better outside. For me, anyway. And then that was it, man. That was it. I left a seventh grader into skateboards, taller, slimmer. And I went to Fort Stewart, Georgia. Hinesville, Georgia. And that was right when gangster rap kicked off. And that was that era. That's a story for a whole nother day. But yeah, that's just a glimpse into the highlights of what I think of when I think of Germany.